By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, that we may transform it into light. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. In this reading, we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Aries, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And the first card we have today is the Hanged Man. Okay, this represents your character. This is your current station. This is kind of the current vibe of your life right now. I think you're someone who is sacrificing. You are giving a lot of yourself to something. You are, you're accepting the conditions of the position we're in right now. You know what I mean? You're somebody who is willing to put in the hard work. You're willing to go all in on something. You're willing to give something the shirt off your back, you know? This is an energy that is, this is saying that we've volunteered for something. We've put ourselves in a particular position here. Yeah. And because of this choice, I feel that there is a commitment. It's something that you value, something that you cherish, something that you feel is worthwhile. It has to be worth the suffering, you know? And so you're the kind of person that is willing to endure the hardships for something that you love or someone you love. This could be about a relationship. It could be about a business. It could be about a spiritual practice. Sometimes this is the card of doing yoga, you know. So I feel that in this Hanged Man position, we are being tested to see, you know, how committed we are to something. And of course, our commitment isn't measured by how much we can suffer for something, okay? But right now I feel that you are sort of like when you go to bed at night, you're sort of asking yourself, is this worth all the suffering? Is this worth what I have to go through to build it, to achieve it, to have it, to experience it, etc.? Okay? So when we close our eyes at night, we're sort of, our attention becomes fixed on how much we're really spending. It's an investment, right, of time, effort, energy, maybe money as well. You're investing parts of yourself into something here. So we need to put this card into a little bit of context, obviously, right? And see what could be going. Oh, a 10 of Cups. Okay, very good. We have the Lover's card. We have the 2 of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords. We have a Princess of Wands. We have the 7 of Swords. We have the Chariot. We have the 8 of Pentacles and a 9 of Swords. I think this is very good. I think even with a 9 of Swords at the end, don't freak out. That's going to be good. Because what that tells me is that this is a recognition that we have suffered enough for something. It's time to reap the rewards. Okay? You're not here by accident. Yeah. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down over here with Dwight K. Schrute right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need. So please watch until the end. And if at any moment during this message you feel like you have a prediction for that card, please put that in the comments down below, okay? You were guided here for a reason. Your guides have something to say to you today. So let's look around the room and see what we've got. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3 major arcana energies. We've got fire. We've got water. We've got got some air, we got some air cards. And of course we have our earth energies here. Yeah. So the air cards, I think, is because we're probably in a position where if things don't really get good soon, if things don't pay off pretty quickly here, I don't know that I can continue to endure what I'm doing, But with the 10 of Cups here, I feel like Spirit's confirming that, yeah, you can reap the rewards, that you have suffered enough for something, and it's time for you to, in a way, feel as if you have done enough. Okay, this is position 2, the battle position. Reveals what's blocking your path, maybe. Reveals our kind of conflict right now. And this is a card of like, I've had enough. This is a card that says there's been more than enough of something. And I think this is the message, that we should feel justified in saying, I'm done giving. I'm done suffering. I'm done making sacrifices for whatever. It's time for me to enjoy whatever this is. It's time for me to reap those rewards, And this is the card of not needing to strive, not needing to work for anything anymore. It's not that we're going to be inactive or anything. In fact, we see activity in your near future here. But this is the recognition that I've put in enough suffering. It's time for me to take something out of this and enjoy something of this and be, in a way, be contented with the progress that I've made. Let's say you're working on a project, you're working on a musical piece or an art piece or something, and you're suffering and suffering and suffering for that. So at some point, it's time to just be happy and comfortable with what we've built. Sometimes it's enough to say, hey, this is fine. This is good. I like the way this is. I don't need to do anything more. I don't need to suffer another minute. I can just enjoy what this is. Now, if this is a relationship, it might be a message that, look, you've been taking care of somebody else for a long time. It's time for you to take care of you. That you've been giving and giving to somebody else for a long time. It's time for you now to sort of take something for yourself. Okay? Maybe it's time, maybe it's the effort, maybe it's the energy, maybe it's the feelings, maybe it's just the money. Maybe it's saying, look, you've invested enough money in whatever the other is. It's time for you to invest in yourself a little bit. Okay? So the 10 of Cups is emerging here as where we really need to kind of transform things a little bit. And that maybe is the challenge for you, because these two cards are very different, aren't they? The Hanged Man does not enjoy anything, is suffering for the sake of something. And of course, the 10 of Cups is, I'm overwhelmed with pleasure and contentment and peace and bliss, and I'm reaping the rewards. So we have the sacrifice, the investment, we have the reward. Okay? And maybe you're in a situation where you kind of do feel that way, that if the more you suffer, the more you're going to enjoy something. The more you'll get back. I've earned it. I've suffered enough. I've earned it. Right? I worked hard today. I deserve to rest and relax at the end of the day. Yeah, I get that. We don't always need to earn it, though, do we? Sometimes we can say, hey, I just need to enjoy something. I just need to feel like I don't need to be striving for anything. I don't need to be working hard at anything in this moment. Right now, I can just chill. Yeah. I think Spirit wants you to just chill, do something nice for yourself, and not feel as if your repose is only earned through your suffering and sacrifice. Okay? The Hanged Man is kind of saying that we've volunteered to lay down on the blacksmith's anvil and to get hammered by life, to really get beat up, because we know it's molding and shaping us and forging us into who we need to become. However, every blacksmith knows you got to dip the thing in water sometimes to cool it off, to really solidify what has been instilled, what has been changed in that piece of metal. I don't know, I'm not a blacksmith, but I imagine you have to dip it in the water to sort of crystallize the changes, that we've pounded it and banged it around and hammered it. And then we've got to put it in the water to sort of set the changes. And that's kind of what we have to do spiritually right now, is we have to realize that we have been through a lot. Sometimes we just need to have a good time. We need to relax. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to feel like I have done enough. maybe if we have to look at it as I've earned my repose, fine. But let's try to remember that we don't have to always earn it. Sometimes we can just take care of ourselves, and that is its own reason, its own justification. Okay? So that's why the Ten of Cups is the battle right now, because I feel that you are in a process of work, of growth, of challenge, and there's going to be more of that. Sure, there's always going to be more work to do. But the battlefield for you is becoming part of the festivities in a way. It's kind of like you're the one that is throwing the party, hosting the party, and you're running around making sure everybody has their drinks, everybody's got what they need. Is everybody okay? Do you need anything? And meanwhile, you're not relaxing, you're not enjoying anything, you're not really like having a good time. Maybe that's what you enjoy. Okay? Maybe that is what you enjoy. And maybe that should be something that we focus on. What about this process is enjoyable for you? How are you taking nourishment? See, this is something that is like fat with nourishment, packed with, nourishing calories here, as opposed to the 10 of Swords, which is a dry hole. Nothing nourishing about that, right? And the fact that we have the 9 of Swords, I think, is us admitting that, okay, yeah, I'm not taking as much nourishment from this situation as I should be, that I've been giving and sacrificing, but I haven't been quite enjoying and kind of consuming enough to keep myself going here. So that brings us to position 3. The soul position reveals your unconscious drives, the private self here, the emotional landscape in a way, something that's whispering from your soul. It's kind of your soul mission right now. This is kind of the spiritual quest, or the spiritual work that we have to do. And this is a card of union, right? This is a card maybe that says we need to love ourselves as much as we love others. We need to take care of ourselves and not feel like we exist only to be of service to everybody else. This is a card of union, a card of family, a card of choice. Are we choosing ourself? Right? If it came down to choosing self, not little s self, not ego, capital S self, right? It comes down to choosing our true self over ego, maybe. And the 10 of Cups is not about the ego gratification, although the ego will partake of that relaxation, but it's a matter of loving ourselves and of feeling like we deserve the best things that life have to offer. That 10 of Cups, right? The dream come true. And I think Spirit's saying, look, realize your dream. Realize that realize how far you've come, for one thing. Right? And all the suffering and all the sacrifices, when you're down here in the Hanged Man position, you may not really be seeing the 10 of Cups. You may be seeing the 9 of Swords. This is all suffering. This is all miserable. Yeah. And that could be the message here with the 10 of Cups, saying we need to kind of, we need to correct our vision a little bit so that we can see that, hey, look, you've come a long way. And you deserve all this happiness and health and well-being. Miracles are happening in your life, and you need to claim them. And maybe it feels a little selfish. Well, to the Hanged Man, it would. Okay? But the alternative is that the Hanged Man in this position is only seeing the 9 of Swords. We need to turn the Hanged Man around, and we can celebrate that 10 of Cups. Celebrate the progress that you've made. Whatever you're kind of in the middle of, take the time out to just feel good about what you've done and to celebrate where you are in your life right now. Celebrate your accomplishments. And I think that the Lover's card is really that union between ego and true self, ego and higher self. Right? It's also kind of the motivation for you, I think. This seems to be like something that you are suffering for because it is your purpose. You're doing what you feel is your duty in life or your destiny in life. This is your soul path. Yeah? And you're meant to be here. And this is a good thing for you. And in that sense, your suffering feels like it is a spiritual suffering, a holy thing. And indeed it is, but for its own sake, suffering is not a spiritual act, you know. But I think in service to something that we truly believe in service to this purpose, it is a very holy thing. Okay. Now let's look at the card behind you, the Two of Pentacles. You're very capable of change, right? This is the dwarf position. Sometimes this is karma that needs to be released, but really it's just past events. It's things that are behind you that are still influencing you, or perhaps still pushing you forward. This is a card of change. At some point in the recent past, you decided to do something different with your life. You decided to make a change. This is a card not of things happening to us or through us, but of us doing something. We're not being changed by the world necessarily. We're doing something else. I choose, well, I'm choosing to lay down on the blacksmith's anvil and let this situation change me. I'm volunteering. Okay, so this is, well, I don't know, maybe you literally volunteered for something, or you started a new path. You started a new physical fitness regimen. You started a new financial path, or you started a new job, a new career. You made a change in your personal habits. You made a change in your spiritual work. We made a positive change. It was a change for the better, where we kind of said, I'm doing something because I want to strengthen a weakness. I want to change something about myself. And I want to further this process of growth and evolution. So it was a choice that you made. Yeah. And it's the choice that's why we're on the blacksmith's anvil. That's why we're in the hanged man position. Suffering and sacrificing for whatever this is. Yeah. And to me, it's a very good thing. And we have to also replenish that energy. We have to take nourishment somewhere. Yeah. So this shows the origin, I think. And it shows that you're very capable of change, and you're doing all the good things in life. You're doing all the right things. But we don't want to identify too much with the suffering and think that the suffering is the benefit. Right? No, the suffering, it just happens to be part of the process. You know, it's the unfortunate part of the process, but it's the only thing that really is going to stimulate growth. Right, is challenge and sacrifice and suffering and sort of getting hammered by life on that anvil. Yeah. But if we stay here in the hanged man position, then it becomes this was the goal. No, this may be the means to the end. But the goal wasn't to just suffer and be miserable. No, it was to, if I have to suffer, I will. I'd rather not. You know, of course I'd rather not, but if I have to, I will. And now I think we're realizing that there is nourishment and benefit here to be had. Okay? And so you've orchestrated this huge party. Make sure everybody's got their drinks, put all the food out, but then just go talk to your friends. Go hang out with your family. Go enjoy yourself. Go kick your feet up. You deserve to partake just as much as everybody else, you know? If not more so, because you did all the work in a way, yeah. The next card we have is the Four of Swords. It reveals the giant in your life, and to me, this is the first encounter we have really of the mental energy, and it's telling you to chill, right? It's telling you to don't be stressed out about everything, because we're stressed out, and then we feel as if we're enslaved by this process that we're involved in, whatever this work is, or this challenge, or this path, and you feel like you're so stressed out that you can't enjoy the process of what you're doing. That everything is hectic, everything is chaotic, yeah. And so this card is saying, let's take a time out, let's breathe, let's relax. You know, the Four of Swords is very often a card of find yourself a quiet space and just breathe, meditate, if that's what you do. Collect yourself, center yourself, try to find a little bit of peace and stillness and centeredness in all of this activity that you're involved with. And it's a way of sort of recognizing and letting go of some of the thoughts that maybe guilt you into not just partaking of that Ten of Cups. Whatever goes through your mind that prevents you from saying, okay, I'm just going to chill a little bit. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to just relax for a minute. Whether I've earned it or not, I need a minute. I need some time for myself. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if our mystery card was the Hermit card. And, Aries, we always talk about you having really, huge ambitions and all this fiery energy. The message right now is, yeah, we got the fiery energy, sure. Get the water going, because it's starting to really take its toll on you, physically, mentally, emotionally. And the Four of Swords is for us to recognize that. Because I feel like your body kind of wants to relax, your mind, your heart want to kind of relax and get nourished. And there's something in your mind that just says, no, wait, no, I can't sit down. I got too much to do, I can't. Yeah, you can. You can find the way, okay? And I think it's very important that you do. And I think that once we are able to clear our head and take a deep breath and relax, we'll see whatever solution we need, we'll see it, okay? But we'll also be ready to sort of continue the path, yeah. But we'll feel restored, okay? You're busy putting out all the food. When do you get to eat? Okay, and I don't know if this is kind of life in general or if this is something at work, at home, at school. But you need the nourishment of that Ten of Cups. Yeah, position 6 is the imago. This is the future kind of event, the next steps for you. The next steps after, of course, you take part of your Ten of Cups. The Princess of Wands is a card of impulsivity. This is really somebody who is bouncing around the party, making sure everything is where it's supposed to be, doesn't take a minute to rest. This is kind of what we need to correct this a little bit. So this is really like a practice for you. It's going to be a difficult practice. When you feel an impulse to get up and do something, I think your motto in life seems to be ABM, always be moving, right? That's what this card is, never sit still. Bouncing from one place to the other, doing just whatever, just keeping busy. Sometimes it becomes just keeping busy for no reason. So your challenge or your work is to, when you feel that impulse to get up and do something, take a breath, breathe, pause. Four of Swords, wait a minute. Take 10 deep breaths, or 7 or 5 deep breaths before you get up and start running around again. Doesn't take very long, right? You can do 12 breaths a minute, seems to be like average. So you can do 6 breaths in 30 seconds. Not gonna be bad. Try to breathe slow. Try to breathe, a few times a minute, as slow as you can and within reason. And then see if that impulse to get up and move around and act and be to attend to things is still there for you, or if it kind of becomes, I don't want to get up right now. I don't need to get up right now. Of course, you don't do that when the alarm clock goes off or when your boss calls you into the office. You kind of got to be prompt, But find opportunities where we can do that and just say, I'm content in this moment. It's all about activating that Ten of Cups for you, because the Ten of Cups is that serotonin, rest and digest energy. This is the card really that says, I don't need anything. I don't need to do anything. Everything is fine. Everything is good. I feel wonderful. Everything right now is a perfect 10. It's not a perfect 10. It never will be. But we can have moments like that where we just feel content. Okay. And then in 30 seconds, got to get up and run around again. And that's okay. But to find those moments where it just says, no, I'm not going to jump up as soon as the bell rings. I don't need to be that way. Like I was kind of raised that way too. Like in my household, whenever there was a knock at the door, everybody in the house would jump up, startled, and run to the door. And it's like, just wait a minute, they can wait. I can, and now I practice that myself. I do. If there's something, whatever is happening, unless of course it requires prompt and urgent response, But otherwise, if my phone rings or my email goes ding, I don't jump up and grab. I register it. I force myself to take a couple breaths, and then I go and pick up the phone. Okay? Sometimes things happen and we get startled, and we end up just leaping up and running around and being attentive. Why? No. We don't have to always have those. It's almost an anxiety response, Anyway, I think that's part of our future, part of the steps going forward here. Okay, and I think that this is going to be part of your process to get the goals you want in life. Yeah, I think that some of your goals. I think maybe with this card too is saying that one of the reasons why you're suffering so much now is because you want the freedom to just be impulsive and be creative and be, be active in a way that is kind of more free. Yeah, because this card especially is starting a lot of new projects, experimenting, exploring, kind of dancing with the tiger here, doing all the fun and exciting things, and maybe that's why you're sort of sacrificing and suffering now, because of the life that you're creating or the goals that you have and your ability then to sort of do more of what you want. Okay. So I think that's part of this card as well. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. These readings are totally free. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Okay. 7 of Swords is your persona, your general energy. This is a card of distractions. People may see you as somebody who can't sit still, as somebody who can't focus on one thing for a long time, especially if we're sort of in that Princess of Wands energy where we can't sit still and we're bouncing around, or here, we're there. It's kind of like you're at that party, and as soon as your friend tries to talk to you, oh, hey, Aries, how you doing? This is a lovely party. You're like, oh, wait, hold on, I'll be right back. And you run off to check the buns in the oven. I don't know. And so it's kind of, we're easily distractible right now. Having a difficult time focusing, maybe concentrating. Having a difficult time just kind of sitting in one place. Again, ABM, always be moving, right? And people see that, and I think that it's very important that we do that 4 of Swords and that Princess of Wands work. Take a deep breath and learn to delay our reactions to things when it's appropriate, when we have opportunities to do that. Because it feels like our mind is getting a little scattered. We have an inability to focus, and maybe there is something in particular that you're trying to do or work on or solve or figure out. And right now there are too many variables. There are too many things that we're changing at once, that we need to sort of slow down and maybe try just doing one thing at a time, seeing if that helps. No? Okay. Do another thing. Does that help? No. Okay. It's like me with the lighting in this studio. You change one thing, and pretty soon we get scattered into so many different directions, and we've changed everything. And now I don't know which one to focus on now to try to get things back to a good place. I think I just need to buy some new lights, really, is the thing. But this card is that sort of easily distractible mind. Okay. And it may feel right now for you difficult to focus on any one thing or one person, or to really just sit still long enough to sort of calm ourselves down and to think things through and to really gain some sort of clarity. Because we're looking for clarity. There's the Ace of Swords right there in the middle. We're looking for that clarity. But what we're experiencing is a lot of maybe intrusive thoughts, a lot of, it's the monkey mind. It's the monkey mind. The 4 of Swords is the mind who's trying to meditate. We get the monkey mind, we pull it back, try to meditate. We get the monkey mind, we pull it back, we try to meditate. This is kind of the This is the name of the game. So in meditation, when you're trying to focus on something, focus on my breathing. Okay, sit there and try to breathe. Pretty soon I'm thinking about the weather. I'm thinking about what I got to do later. I'm thinking about, who's at my house. I'm thinking about the work tomorrow. And, I notice I'm thinking about all these other things, but I'm not thinking about my breath. Pull my monkey mind back to my breath and just focus on my breath. Focus on the sensation of breathing, whether you focus on it in your abdomen or you feel it kind of in your midsection, your chest, or you focus on the sensations in your nose or something. Whatever it is for you, or just the whole body kind of rising and falling, or the sound even. And focus on that. And then, of course, the monkey mind will start chattering away about other things, and we just sort of reel it back in. That's the essence of meditation. So many people say, I can't meditate, I'm bad at it. Yeah, we're born bad at it, right? We got to learn how to do it. And so if you weren't bad at it, I'd say you're probably not doing it right. I've been meditating for 20 years now. I'm still bad at it. That's okay. It has amazing benefits even when you're bad at it. It's the process of practice. That's why they call it practice. I don't know how to do it. I'm practicing, right? Always practicing. Always be practicing. And I think that's important for you right now, because it feels like your mind there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of different avenues. You were thinking of many different trains of thought, and our mind is the train station, and there's a lot of trains going through it. And we have to be able to chill and focus on one or the other of those trains in order to really, to get where we're going and to figure things out the way we want to, okay? So this, I think, is kind of how you're experiencing yourself, but it's also, I think, how other people are sort of, how other people might be seeing you, okay? There is a chariot in your environment here. And what this card is, position 8, it's the shadow. Things in your environment, aspects of your relationship are in you triggering this kind of self-protection. It's almost in a way triggering your aloofness or your detachment from people, okay? I think there might be some family stuff going on. And I think that, whatever's happening in your personal life, your personal world, family, friends, there are things that are making you want to shut down and close yourself off. We're kind of like, I don't know if it's a particular person or just a certain set of circumstances that we kind of like, okay, putting the armor on, putting the visor down, I'm sort of, it's in a way, it's Homer Simpson kind of leaning back into the hedges and disappearing into the bush. You've seen that meme before? That's great. I love that one. It's really old. Dating myself a little bit. It's kind of, you don't want to engage with things, so you just sort of roll up the window in the car. Yeah. We used to have these windows like this, so you'd have to roll them up and down. So it kind of feels like that. It sort of feels like we might be isolating a little bit emotionally, because we're experiencing life a different way. So it could be other people in your life are just having a good time, partying, feeling good, and feeling happy, and enjoying a lot of things, and you're sort of over here in the hangman position, staring at a 9 of swords, and you're thinking, yeah, oh, good for you. You have time to relax and rest and take a nap and watch TV and journal and doodle and daydream and stare at clouds and stuff. I don't have that luxury, And so I feel like there's a little bit of resentment there. It's kind of bringing out these shadow qualities. But I think it's making us a little bit more detached emotionally, whereas what we're trying to do, indeed, is connect emotionally. We're looking for union, And so it's kind of, these are a little at odds with each other. Yeah, we sort of desire the union, but there are things in the environment, in your interactions with people, that are making us aware that we're feeling kind of cut off from people. It's like we might be all on the freeway together, but I'm in this car by myself. And it kind of feels that way, that and maybe it's because you're doing all this work, for everybody else, and everybody else is just kind of lounging around taking advantage. Like everybody's at the dinner table, everybody's on those couches, like in ancient Greece or whatever. They're on those couches and they're just with the grapes in their mouth, you know. And here you are bringing the grapes to everybody, growing the grapes, harvesting the grapes, washing them, taking the seeds out maybe, I don't know. And it's making us feel disconnected from people, making us feel a little bit aloof. Yeah. And then, of course, when the bell rings, there is the Princess of Wands that's just jumping up, and, you know, it's reminds me of Downton Abbey. And everybody downstairs, they're trying to eat their lunch, but then one of those little bells ring, and they jump up and they're running upstairs, and it's just like, there's a couple characters in that show. It's one of my favorite shows. There's a couple of characters that are kind of doing the always be practicing instead of the always be moving. They'll sip their coffee slowly. They'll take a couple deep breaths. Then they'll stand up and they'll rush off and take care of business, you know. And sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it's not. You be the judge, right? So anyway, the chariot in the environment, I think, is an important thing for you to sort of recognize, you know. The next card we have is the fear, worry, and concern. This is sort of the always be growing card, yeah. And it's the Eight of Pentacles. This is the position of the specter. This is our anxieties. And I think that maybe we feel as if I'm not so attentive, if I'm not always here ready to do everything, something's not going to get done. And that's going to be a problem. That we don't want to let the tree wither away and die. It's kind of like you have a garden in your backyard, and every day you're running to the garden, better water it, and you're suffering and sacrificing. You're putting in time, effort, energy, and or money for that garden. The garden will be okay if you go in the house and sit down for a minute and drink a glass of water. The tomatoes will be fine. In fact, they'll probably do better if you're not hovering over them, you know. And so to me, the Hanged Man is kind of representing that card of being of service to something, which is very admirable. It's a very good thing, right? The thing is, we want to temper that a little bit, okay? So you're on that blacksmith's anvil, you're suffering and sacrificing for something, you're growing and changing and evolving in some way, and, well, you've got to dip yourself in the cool bucket of water once in a while in order to solidify something that we're growing, yeah. And so this is that card of patience. This is that card of calm. This is that card of like paying attention to details, but not in a frantic or a hectic way. Okay. And I think that, you know, what we're afraid of is that if we take time for ourselves, if I'm not giving and suffering and sacrificing and being of service, being at something's beck and call, then it's going to wither away. It's not going to grow. It's going to experience some kind of a detrimental thing. And to me, that feels like a little bit of ego, you know? It's kind of like, the thing's going to be okay if we take a break. Things are not going to fall apart if I step away. Maybe you're a business owner. Things are going to be okay if I like go home and sleep for 8 hours every night. The business will be okay, you know? And of course, this has to be done responsibly and within reason. Sometimes things are not going to be okay if you step away for 5 minutes. But you have to be the judge of that. That's why we need that couple of seconds to calm down and think, is this urgent? Do I need to leap up into action, or can I finish my coffee first? Actually, you know what? I'm not drinking coffee anymore. I'm drinking matcha, and I'm drinking some holy basil tea. But I'm off coffee, and I'm happy about that. The green tea still has the caffeine in it, though, but I don't know, something about it that is, to me, it feels much more calm, much more steady than the coffee. But this is that recognition that I don't always need to be like micromanaging everything. I can be attentive, I can be of service in a very positive way, but maybe this transformation, this blacksmith's anvil that you're going through, this pressure cooker situation is teaching you that your ego doesn't need to be like right there next to something, always like, you know, it's like you're in a restaurant and every time you take a sip of water, the waiter's right there and fills up the little bit of water. And then you take a drink and they fill it up again. And it's too much. It's like, I want to finish my water in peace. And then when I'm done, thank you. I really appreciate a refill of my water, of course. But for somebody to be there, it's a trope. It's we see that in movies and shows and books and stuff like that. And probably in The Simpsons too. I don't know. I think maybe when Homer goes to that restaurant in that one episode, a long time ago. But this, I think, is the recognition that something's going to be okay, even if I'm not on call 24/7, 365 for it. Okay? And so I don't know what this is for you. I don't know what you are in service to, if it is a sport or a skill you're trying to learn, or if it's a project you're working on, a business you're running, your job, your friends, a family member. Maybe you're taking care of somebody. Maybe you're living with somebody. Maybe you're responsible for the house. Whatever it could be. Maybe it is the garden. Yeah. Now, the 10th card is the destiny card, right? It shows the final outcome here. And what this is representing, it's a 9 of Swords. 9 of Swords is unhappiness, misery, right? And to me, it feels like this is the Hanged Man from the Hanged Man's position is saying, this is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced. This is not fun by any means. Physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, creatively, it feels like torture. Okay? And indeed, it is. It seems that way. I think this is your destiny card in this position because it's important that you recognize this. You recognize that you feel this way. And so we realize what changes we might have to make so that we can actually receive some nourishment from this. Because really it's a matter of you being on the blacksmith's anvil and getting hammered. Nobody's dipping you in the water. Well, you've got to do it. You're the blacksmith and the piece of metal on the anvil. Okay? And I think that spirit right now wants you to embrace this water energy. Embrace your family, your friends, the love, the relaxation, the self-care, the pampering, right? Go give yourself a spa day, right? But practice these things. Practice especially this idea of as soon as the bell rings, you jump up and run. It's not always appropriate for you to do that, okay? Or for even you to jump up and run before the bell even rings. Yeah. Because this is going to be the expected result if things continue the way they are. If we don't recognize the 10 of Cups, we're going to just see that 9 of Swords. So what we need to do is align our actions, align our behaviors, and change our perspective a little bit so that we can change the 9 of Swords into a 9 of Cups. We can feel the happiness. And I think the way to do that is to embrace the 10 of Cups, to find moments of contentment and peace, and that just says, that sort of recognizes, wow, like, I'm building up my life. I'm doing a really good job here. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a hug. Give other people a hug. Do something that's just for you. Do something that you enjoy. Now, mystery card. Let's uncover this together, okay? This is position 11. This is the guide. And this is what Spirit is trying to tell you. This is your higher self. This is your inner teacher, your deepest wisdom. Shows the character qualities that we might need to develop in order to walk the path ahead. What do we think it's going to be? Empress. I think maybe it's going to be a card that says stop. So maybe a 2 of Wands or something. It could be a 4 of Wands. It could be some water energy. I kind of like to see more water. There's not a lot of water. The only water we have is the 10, which is like the perfect, sort of dream come true water energy. And I think that it is, in a very general way, Spirit is saying that, look, whatever you're suffering and sacrificing for, your dream will come true. But we don't want the entire journey to be misery. Right? So let's not put all this hope in the end result that says, I'm suffering now, but one day I'll be happy. One day this will all be over and I'll get to enjoy my life. No, we have to start enjoying it now. Okay? We have to find ways to make this journey more pleasurable. I'd like to see a 9 of Cups. Well, we've got the Knight of Wands. It doesn't matter that it's inverted. Well, maybe it does in this case, but this is your superpower card, Aries. This represents the Aries energy in action. Leaping up, jumping in, right? The Knight of Wands. And since this is upside down, it might be saying that we've taken this cardinal fire energy to the extreme, you know? That we have been way too sort of eager to rush into battle, to jump into the fire, you know, in that pressure cooker kind of thing. And maybe now it's time to dip ourselves in the cool bucket of water, right? Because the Knight of Wands is kind of an impulsive energy. It's very similar to this. But this one is you know, both of these cards feel an impulse and they act. The problem is sometimes that this one doesn't think before acting on that impulse. The problem sometimes is that this one thinks too much before acting on the impulse. So where's the balance? We don't think at all, and we're just running around like a chicken, right? Or we think too much, and then we end up missing the opportunities. We end up letting something sort of wither away. We let something, you know, diminish that we should have been. I should have been there. You know, I didn't react fast enough. This is I'm reacting too fast. This is I didn't react fast enough. Where's the balance? So that's what we need right now, is a balance between suffering and sacrifice, and enjoyment and indulgence and self-care and self-love, and between the fire energies here. So I think this is a pretty good confirmation. It's your superpower card after all, right? I think that this is very important, okay? And this is sort of also representing the direction of your soul's evolution, that we're coming into the very appropriate balance of this impulse to behavior sort of energy, that we're understanding when to pause and think, breathe before we respond to something, and when we just need to leap up and rush into action. So since it came out upside down, it means that we may have a somewhat distorted view of what we're really supposed to be doing right now, or how we're supposed to be doing it. It's kind of the inverted view, like the Hanged Man too. It says, I see everything as being misery. Everything sucks. Well, yeah, maybe because our view of the world is a little bit upside down. That we kind of feel like the more I suffer, the better things will get. But we're seeing that, you know, the more I suffer now, maybe I'm suffering for something very important, but it's kind of like the more I suffer on the journey, it just means that the goal is going to feel all that much better, right? And I can see the logic in that, and maybe it does work that way. But I think that we're not going to make it to the goal if we don't find a way to turn things around a little bit. I think this shift is real. Yeah, I think it's a real shift. Now, please let this message find your heart. Okay, each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation, alternating between who you're becoming and the world you are creating. And remember that the tarot does not dictate your future. It reveals the pattern of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your soul path, please share your reflections down below. Together we journey onward, ever upward, and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram, we'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner, and there's a link down below. New readings for Aries on Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.